Bonjour French students, bienvenue au vidéo 2 du chapitre 2. Can you believe we're already on the third chapter that we're going to be studying this semester? So we're kind of almost over the halfway point already, and that makes sense since spring break is coming up next week. So we're right on schedule. Okay, so the topic of today's video is le temps libre et les loisirs. Okay, so what do we mean here? Le temps libre would be free time. So libre is kind of like liberty. Et les loisirs. Loisir is like leisure, so you can see the connection between those words and English words that are familiar to us. And we see a few questions here with some responses about free time activities. So the first question is, qu'est-ce que vous aimez faire après les cours en général? So remember that est-ce que always signals that there is a question. And the QU in front is que, so that would be like what. So what do you like to do? Qu'est-ce que vous aimez faire? Après, after, les cours en général. So generally, what do you like to do after class? There are three responses. Okay, so we can say j'aime, and this is coming from the verb aimer, to like. Okay, je n'aime pas. Okay, I do not like, and remember we have ne coming before the verb, pas coming after the verb. And we have another way of saying this, which comes from the verb préférer, and I'm sure you can easily guess what that means. And that would be to prefer, préférer. Okay, je préfère, I prefer. And we can also use this in kind of a more formal, polite form. So this question down here is asking the same thing, except it's saying vous voudriez faire. Okay, so voudriez is kind of saying would like. So qu'est-ce que vous voudriez faire? What would you like to do today after classes? Aujourd'hui, après les cours. So today after classes. Je voudrais. So voudrais is coming from the verb vouloir, which means to want. Okay, so we can put all the English equivalents of these verbs here. And vouloir, I'll move myself out of the way there, is coming from or is to want. Okay. So if somebody asks you to do certain activities, you can answer by saying j'aime, je n'aime pas, je préfère, or finally je voudrais. So it's I like, I do not like, I prefer, or I would like. Okay, so let's look at some different activities, and we'll kind of remind ourselves of these different expressions that you can use to say what you would like to do or not like to do. Okay, so we have all these different activities with pictures to go along with them. So le weekend, so whenever we talk about time and use an article in front of it like le, it means in general, so on weekends or on the weekend. J'aime sortir avec des amis. So j'aime, we already know means I like. Sortir, you remember what this one is? Okay, sortir is to go out. So I like to go out with friends, with some friends. Okay, so I can say j'aime, je n'aime pas, je préfère, or je voudrais. All of them are possible. Those are the expressions you learned on the first slide. Okay, so all these different activities we can consider here. Okay, aller au cinéma, aller voir un film. So we can go to the movies, we can go to see a film or a movie. Aller au café, so go to a café. Aller prendre un verre, un café, prendre un verre. Well, let's switch that back. Okay, verre just means glass, so it's literally to take or to have a glass, and it's to have a drink. So aller prendre un verre ou un café, have a coffee. Dîner au restaurant, so going to a restaurant, having dinner at a restaurant. Aller en boîte de nuit, so going to a dance club, or aller danser écouter de la musique, listen to some music. Faire du sport, so that's to get exercise or play sports. And we have different sports that you see there, and all of them are in the same form, jouer au. If you're talking about playing an instrument, which I think we did learn about earlier in the course, that's jouer de, like jouer de la guitare, jouer du piano, jouer de la flûte. Okay, so if we're talking about playing sports, it's going to be jouer à quelque chose, playing something. So jouer au tennis, to play tennis, jouer au basket, basketball of course, jouer au football. If you're in Europe and you say football, it's going to mean soccer. So you would have to add américain after football to specify that it's American version of football. So jouer au football or jouer au football américain and jouer au volley. So we can play all different sports. Finally, courir, to run, faire du vélo, to go bike riding, or faire de l'exercice, to get some exercise. Okay, so I could take any one of these expressions and read up here, and I can say what I like, I can say what I don't like, I can say what I prefer, and I can say what I would like. So let's say I'm going to choose the first one, j'aime, and I could say j'aime aller au café. And so I like to go to the cafe. I could say what I don't like. For example, je n'aime pas jouer au volley. And that's totally true. It is my least favorite sport. I like sports, but I really don't like volleyball. Je préfère. I can say what I prefer. Je préfère courir. So I would much rather go and run than play volleyball. Or I could say je voudrais, I would like, je voudrais dîner au restaurant. Je voudrais beaucoup dîner au restaurant. I haven't been to a restaurant for some time, so it might be nice to do that. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to give you the chance to practice this. I'll give you a moment to jump into an interaction here in the video. You can choose any of these four. You can say j'aime, je n'aime pas, je préfère, or je voudrais, and add any one of these activities. So just one sentence, and you can write this or you can say it. And we see a similar selection of leisure time and free time activities here on this other slide. So après les cours, after class, je suis fatigué, I'm tired. And remember, since fatigué is an adjective, you'll add an E if you are female and describing yourself. No, je suis fatigué. Je préfère rester à la maison. So I prefer to stay at home. J'aime, and these are some things you might do at home instead of going out. Oh, j'aime lire, so I like to read. J'aime dormir, who doesn't like to sleep? J'aime parler au téléphone, or j'aime envoyer des textos. So I like to talk on the phone, or I like to send texts. J'aime jouer de la guitare. Remember what I was saying before about sports? So jouer à goes with sports. Jouer de goes with playing musical instruments. So j'aime jouer de la guitare. J'aime jouer de la batterie, du piano. So these are some different instruments that I might like to play. J'aime regarder la télé or la télévision. I think most people probably just say télé like we say TV in English. J'aime jouer à des jeux. So here it's jouer à when it's talking about a card or like say video games, or even if you were talking about other kinds of games like card games or board games or something, you would use jouer à as well. And finally, j'aime travailler sur l'ordinateur, surfer sur Internet. So I like to work on the computer or surf the internet. So let's try this one more time. We'll just use the expression j'aime in this case. So I could say, quand je suis à la maison, j'aime jouer du piano. Moi, j'aime beaucoup le piano. So I could say that I like to play the piano. So now it's your turn to say something that you like to do using j'aime. Okay, so that covers all the vocabulary that we need for this first grammar vocabulary topic of chapitre 2, talking about your free time, which as a college student you definitely need to have some of sometimes, right? So I hope this is helpful to you, and we'll see each other again in video 3. À la prochaine!